Well, actually, I wanted to start with Robert in Long Island. Robert, you're live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going?
Of course you did.
How you doing, Mr. Let's see, it's Mr. Boone and Mr. Murphy then?
That's correct.
Yes,
Thank you for calling back, Robert.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, we
were you were here from last weekend, aren't you?
Yep. Sorry, what were you saying, Robert?
I thought this would be an anticipated talk with you gentlemen.
Yes.
Oh, I've been anticipating your call, Robert.
Okay.
You have?
I have.
Me too.
Keep your pants on. It's okay.
I'm not wearing pants.
TMI. All right. So what did you want to talk about today, Robert?
I believe we talked last week about you signing a document that stated you believed in God in this country.
I mean, me?
No.
Both of you.
Okay, why would I do that?
Every one of your, let's see, what were you called? They're saying you're calling you cells. That would be every cell that you have, that you're affiliated with?
Well, I'm more than affiliated with my cells. We know each other quite well.
Do you mean like biological, like the cells of my body?
Okay.
No, your offices.
My what?
In this country, your offices.
Well, I mean, at this point, I hope you have the power of prophecy because I hope that we're able to help start
I don't know what the
community
fuck's going on.
organizations all over the United States. But at the present moment, we only have one location. It's at 1507 West Koenig Lane, and it's open 7 days a week.
Well, I think it's pretty awesome.
That's fine with me for the moment.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
hold on.
I'm living with it, but it's going to be more than that soon.
What's going on? You're talking past me. I'm new to this conversation.
Yeah.
Bring me up to speed.
Okay. I believe it was the gentleman on the left there who we're talking to last week, and that would be you, Mr. Boone.
That is correct. Yep. Bingo.
Very good.
You got one.
And looks like Mr. Murphy is new to this conversation.
I am.
That's because he was not here last week. Yeah.
If you're watching the live stream, there's a significant delay. I would just go by the audio.
So the note says that you have a biblical argument for the existence of God.
Okay, this is I guess a good place to start, which would be fine. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do dissertation on this. That the sole purpose of I have no volume. The sole purpose of this, I have no volume on this, and I can't hear myself. But anyway, the sole purpose of this is the dissertation that God of the Bible, and I will include the Jewish nation, and I will include the Muslim nation in this conversation.
Wait, they're all the Abrahamic traditions? Yeah.
Yes, we're talking about the Old Testament, the New Testament, and we're talking about the Muslim nation as a
So to be clear, are you talking about the Bible? Like this one right here?
The Quran, sir. Yeah, and the Quran.
And the Quran. Okay, so all of the Abrahamic traditions are accurate? Is this what you're saying?
Well, throughout the dissertation we have here is that the sole purpose of the Bible is that the entity God is here to protect us from our duality, which is evil and good.
How did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah. Everybody has a little bit wrong with them, or they have a lot wrong with them. That would be extreme evil. And the purpose of the Bible and all its little rules and stories are to keep people at a minimum of problems.
So to
be clear, when you say the Bible, do you mean a book that is handed down through tradition, or do you mean a God has that purpose?
God is in that book, and that is his purpose.
Do you believe that the God exists, like, in a real, tangible way outside of stories?
Yes, quite frankly, everybody in the religious communities, and that includes the three, do believe that.
You'd be surprised. We get a lot of different callers.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, but you believe that a God exists and that God's purpose is something or other. How did you come to the conclusion that a God exists?
Well, hold on. Actually, before we get there, I want to...
Well, I believe the debate started last week about the present-day condition of the world.
Okay, so hold on. I'd like to jump in now that I'm in this discussion. So you talked about evil. What is evil?
Evil, let's see what definition was given here. Pretty much the harmful ways against innocent people, or if we want to talk about extreme evil, killing innocent people.
Okay, so I mean, I was raised in the Christian faith, and that's just about, can be classified as a thing that's evil. There are a lot of things that were considered evil at my church, but I mean, evil is a word that we use to describe, societal actions that can be disruptive to society or that we just are morally against. But don't we define those things? I'll give you an example.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So someone breaks into your house with the intent of murdering you.
That's evil.
Okay. And then you kill them, protecting yourself.
That's self-defense.
Okay. So where I'm going with this is we have two murder, we have one person who's trying to murder you and you successfully murder them. What's the difference there?
Self-defense and intent to rob and murder.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're talking about killing, right? Either way, somebody died, right?
You can't discern the difference, sir?
Oh, I can. What I'm trying to get at is whether or not there is a physical, tangible thing called evil. Maybe we can measure it. Maybe we can weigh it. Maybe we can find out its qualities. Because otherwise, we're just describing things that we don't like, right?
Well, I'm sorry. Listen, if you can't, the reality is if you can't understand the difference between evil and good, and which you displayed was a significant evil act portrayed upon an innocent person in their home, doesn't that make atheism a little have a philosophical flaw by nature?
No, and it's also not what he just said, and that seems like a statement that you could have made before his last statement, but one that wouldn't logically follow if you'd actually listened to what he'd said.
So the reason why I'm saying this, Robert, is because I'm trying to break this down to where we can identify where we're seeing differences in what we qualify as good and evil, right? And what I really want to do is I really want to talk about the definition of good and the definition of evil, because at its core, they're not evidences of some larger thing. What they are words that we use to describe other things. So I'm not espousing my own worldview here. What I'm doing is I'm trying to come up with these scenarios and these different arguments to try and help you look at your own argument from different directions.
Very good. I guess I would like to change the word good in this dialogue and change the word to innocent, evil and innocent.
Okay. So
How do you discern the difference?
I'm more curious about this word evil, because it seems like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you're using this word evil to get to a point about an existence of some other beings. Am I wrong about that?
Excuse me?
Are you using this argument, maybe I'm wrong, to say that there's the existence of a devil or a god, that there are some supernatural powers that are made up of good or evil? Or innocent and evil?
I do not wish to debate the devil right now. That's a different topic that would take more consideration than the 18 minutes we have.
Sure. Well, and I honestly think that your God, or at least the Abrahamic God, is far more evil. So let's talk about that one.
Whatever.
Whatever. How many people?
Do you have a question about the God of the Bible being evil that would make me consider your talk?
No, just read the thing.
What?
Read the Bible.
Okay.
My question would be, do you read the Bible and find that the God of the Bible is not evil?
Yes, he's not evil. He protects the innocent.
So how many babies would you murder before you're considered evil?
All right, gentlemen, I have a question. Can I counter with a question? Would that be fine?
Well, hold on a second.
I'd actually like you to answer.
Yeah.
How would I say, what would be evil? I'm looking at maybe 50 million would be considered the most evil thing I've ever seen.
Cool. In your book, your God wiped out every living thing in the planet except for a family and a contingent of animals, right?
That's
fucking everything.
To this point. That's been disputed to this point.
What's been disputed?
Actually,
that there was a global flood that's described in the Bible, in the story of Noah?
Yeah.
That's being disputed. Well, I'm glad that you
Do you believe
understand.
that happened?
If you believe that the Bible isn't true and none of the story's true, how can you counter
Robert,
all the whole
Robert,
word?
Robert,
you use yourself.
Robert,
Go ahead.
Robert, do you believe that Noah's flood occurred?
No.
Okay. Do you believe that the Bible is literally true?
Yes.
Okay.
How
Do
can
you,
you
do you
hold both-
recognize
okay,
that
yeah.
you've just said, hey, this book that says that Noah's flood happened is true, and also Noah's flood didn't happen?
Good call, Jamie.
I'm quite aware of what I just said.
Okay.
But
Do you see that
we're
those two
limited to
statements
time.
on their face are contradictory?
yes.
Okay.
I'd like to quote as one of my resources is Joel Baden of the Yale Divinity School.
What's the quote?
Okay.
That's just I'm just telling you guys something.
Okay.
Who I'm using as reference.
Yeah, it's good to cite your sources.
Also, I'd like to use the Jimmy Swaggart Ministries as also employing information into the project.
Yeah. Yeah, let's bring in some Jimmy Swaggart.
Okay.
Do you have a particular thing you'd like to cite at the moment? Or
And I'd also like to take into consideration the Nantucket project is brought into this.
Okay, so either give us the sources or you're just
I
listing
mean,
shit.
yeah, no. Thank you.
Gentlemen, those are the sources.
Yeah, thank you. We're happy to receive a bibliography, and that may sound incredibly sarcastic, but it's always nice to hear that someone is doing research.
Well, usually
You would
say
like to use
according
those,
to
those
the
sources to cite what specifically?
because you usually when you're citing a source say according to this.
Yeah. What is the
So
thing you're citing?
What do you got?
What?
You've listed sources.
Dialogue, paperwork.
Dialogue and
No.
paperwork.
Okay, so you've brought up these sources. Are you referring to something specific from them?
Yes, that's the supporting material I have with me.
Okay.
Material that supports what specifically?
The claim that God is here to protect the innocent.
Cool.
An omniscient being has been protecting this world since the beginning of creation.
Okay, does your
Cool.
God
Can
know?
you make that case?
Excuse me?
So you have a claim that you would like to defend with argument and demonstrate to us so that we will believe it. That claim, as I understand it, is there is an, I don't know whether you said omniscient or omnipotent, but a very powerful being protecting innocence on this planet. Cool. Would you like to present your opening argument for that, or?
Let me see. All throughout Israel's history, God defended the people in miraculous ways. Is that correct?
I mean, are you
According to
asking
the
me
book.
if I believe that?
Well, we're discussing the Bible, correct?
The book
Okay.
describes many battles between what it terms God's people and other people,
And we-
that God often instructs his people to genocide.
We can make moral judgments about that book and still disagree that that book is even true. Just
Yeah.
like how I would say that Voldemort is evil in the Harry Potter books, right? I don't actually think that Harry Potter is real, but I can tell you that that
And-
character is evil.
Yeah, sorry, there's something
All
I-
right, can we?
Right, Sauron.
Can I bring it to? We're going to go into the 19th century now. History.
I'd
No.
like to I'd like to hold you to the stories in the book describe a God that protects the innocent, because whether or not
okay,
you
I will
want to
go to
blanketly
New
call the
Testament.
people
New
of Israel innocent, as depicted in that book, the God of the Bible also, according to that book, allows them to be subjected to slavery and suffering and diaspora in that book. We don't even have to get to the mid-20th century for that.
Gentlemen, we're gonna have to leave the Israel Bible because we're gonna have to discuss the 19th century and Christianity now.
No, I
No.
think you're
Talking
going to
about the
defend
past,
whether or
present,
not.
and future.
All right. So
No, but
the God depicted in the Bible not only instructs and carries out genocide, he allows his people, God's people, to be subjected to slavery and diaspora. Again, all this is within the text of the Bible. Do you think that that is a depiction of a God that defends the innocent?
If you're quite aware, it was the civilizations that surrounded Israel that subjected them to slavery.
No.
No.
wasn't
Was
God
God
himself.
powerful enough to free them from slavery, as it's said in the book?
Yes, he did.
All right, cool. Why did he let it happen in the first place if he is there to defend them?
Things take time. Is that a good answer for you?
No.
Because if you had
God's
the power,
outside of time.
Yeah, if you had the power, well, hold on.
According to the book.
So if you had the power to wiggle your pinky finger and fix world hunger, with no negative consequences to yourself, would you do it?
I would have to go with the Old Testament, the fact that man by nature has a duality. So if God gave you everything you
Robert,
wanted,
I just asked you a question. Are you going to answer the question?
I just did.
Okay, so let me
God
ask
gave
it
you
again because
everything
obviously you
wanted,
didn't hear it.
As you wanted it, you would still have evil in this world.
I didn't ask that
Man's
question.
Problem
Robert,
is
listen.
the answer.
No, listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
Go ahead.
Okay, so if you could wiggle your pinky finger and solve world hunger or cure all disease on this planet with no ill effect to yourself, would you do that?
Yes.
Okay, how come your God doesn't?
Because God knows more than I do.
No, it's because you're a better moral actor than your God.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I
You
don't
are.
believe-
Yeah, could
Actually,
you
let me
name
jump-
somebody who can watch suffering, murder, and death? Could you watch someone who could stop disease, hunger, famine, and rape, and then say that person is a moral actor if they could prevent it?
I don't know how God could literally change. Since God gave us the freedom of will, He would have to change
All right.
everybody's mind.
Let me jump in here real quick
in the
and
Bible,
see
He
if I
doesn't
can
do that.
bring
Okay.
this point home.
Well-
Robert, can God solve world hunger?
No.
Okay, so there is a thing that God is not powerful enough to do.
Because man disordered changes everything good.
In
and
the
that's
Bible,
throughout the Bible.
in the Bible, it tells a story of God's people wandering in the desert and God feeding them.
That's correct.
Do you believe that this Bible accurately describes the characteristics of God?
Yes.
Okay, do you believe that God changes?
Um,
Specifically, do you believe that God gets less powerful over time?
oh, no, quite frankly, He transferred
Okay,
the power.
so
over
presumably he would
Christianity.
still have that power.
That is correct.
So do you believe that God, as depicted in the Bible, the one that you believe in, could end world hunger?
Yes, He could.
Okay. Do you believe that it would be good to end world hunger?
Yes, I do.
All right. Do you believe that your God is good?
Yes, I do.
I don't see how, if you reflect on those, you can look at that and not see the contradiction between a God that can solve world
Because
hunger, a God that is good, and a God that doesn't solve world hunger.
Okay, I'll answer it. Because if He did put the food out there, somebody would try to steal it anyway.
If there's food for everybody, then how does that make any sense at all, Robert?
Yeah.
And we're not talking about a food that people are trying to steal. We're not all going to share a food. It would be enough food to
God
feed the
not
world.
multiply
What if-
an amount of 2 loaves to feed whatever amount of people that God wanted to feed?
What if you, because of jealousy, the innate actions of man, which is jealousy, what if you saw what your neighbor had and said
Right.
you wanted his food?
Do you believe that humans are strong enough collectively to thwart God?
I think evil people could attempt
Would they succeed?
hurt innocent people. Does that make sense?
It's a
that makes sense
parallel
as a
point,
dodge.
but it makes sense as a But
Right.
yeah. Do you think that humans are stronger collectively than God?
No, I do not.
Okay, so if God wanted everyone to be fed, could God make that happen?
Yes.
Okay. Would it be good for everyone to be fed?
Yes. Go on.
Is God good?
Yes.
Why isn't everyone fed?
Because somebody would become jealous and try to take what's next to them.
Okay, is
Which
that
is
a
worse?
good enough reason?
Yeah, which is worse, a person being jealous or a person starving to death?
Well, people kill over food. People kill over money.
Yeah,
People
because
kill
there's
over
not
food when there's
enough.
not enough.
What?
People kill when there's not enough food. If you put 2 people in a room and you give them food for 1 person, that gives them a motivation to fight. If you put 2 people in a room and you give them enough food for 10 people, they have no reason to fight over it because there's enough.
I would
They can both
disagree
become
with that.
obese or whatever.
I would disagree with that statement.
Enlighten me.
What is there to disagree with?
Yeah.
If everybody in the room had food, why would they fight over the other person's food?
Exactly.
Exactly. They wouldn't.
Because that's man.
No. You're ascribing a nature to humanity that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Objection, facts not in evidence.
Yeah, I mean, really, dude. You've said a couple things that I just do not want to let you get away with. I'm sorry, but I really need to catch you here. You said something about free will, right? That God gave us free will, and that's why we're here?
We were created with free will. That's correct.
Okay. Is there and are you saying that because there's free will is why we have a fallen world? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Is there free will in heaven?
That is correct also.
Is there suffering in heaven?
That is incorrect.
Okay. Let me ask you a couple other. Let's see. Disease, hunger, rape, torture, those kinds of things.
None.
None of those?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So are you saying there exists a place where people could be that does not have all of those things? Famine, hunger, disease, rape, torture, all of that, right? And
yes, you're accurate in your statements, but the kingdom of heaven doesn't exist in a physical realm to begin with.
okay, so hold on, follow me here. Do you have free will in heaven?
Yes.
Okay, so God can create a place where there's free will and not disease, famine, torture, rape, and all of that. God can make that place.
Incorrect. That
But
is incorrect.
you just said that's the quality of heaven. So please
We
tell
don't
me.
live in heaven.
Can you live in heaven?
On earth. We don't live in heaven. We were created on earth.
Okay, hold on. So is there something fundamentally different about you between earth and heaven?
The same as every Christian, every person that believes in God. No.
Okay, so then what is the difference, man? Well, you just described a place that you said cannot exist. So it's one or the other.
Heaven is above earth. It's a different realm. Why do you need explanation?
No, I'm not. I don't need your explanation about heaven, Robert. I need your explanation on how you can say that God can create a place without all of this suffering and free will, and then say there's all this suffering because of free will. How do you get there?
First of all, in the creation story, Eden fell, which means we were literally in heaven, but for some reason that needs to be talked about, something occurred, a dynamic that changed man's place on earth.
Okay, why would God create people who could do that?
Free will.
Free will, just like in heaven, where people can do whatever they want and not suffer and be in torment, right? That place?
Earth. Heaven on earth, it was, yeah.
Okay, so how come it can exist in heaven and not on earth? You just said free will's the difference, and you just told me free will exists in heaven. How?
Once again, earth is the ground, heaven is a different plane of existence.
Okay, so
body as we know it, earth is based upon food.
Let me try just one question.
Please,
here.
please.
All right, Robert, I'm thinking of a place where humans live and they have free will. Based on that information alone, can you tell me whether or not there is suffering there?
There is suffering on earth, that is correct.
No. There is a place I'm thinking of that I haven't told you the name of yet. There are humans there, they have free will. Do you know whether or not the place I'm thinking of has human suffering?
Earth.
No. The place I'm thinking of. Is there suffering in any place where humans exist and have free will?
I cannot read your mind, gentlemen.
Okay,
here. Let me see if I can find.
We're talking about Planet Jamie here.
Yeah. So there is a location, right? There is a plane of being. It is a realm. You do not know what that realm is yet, but I will give you some information about that realm and see if you can, from that information, bring a conclusion. So, for example, if I said, "Oh, it's the realm where humans were created," you would be able to say, "Yes, that's Earth." Or if I said, "Oh, it's the realm where good Christians live after they're dead," or whatever the correct phrasing is for what you believe, you would be able to say that that's heaven. The information that I'm giving you about the realm that I'm thinking of is humans live there, and humans have free will. Can you tell me whether or not that realm is heaven or earth?
Are you discussing the atheistic view of the world?
No,
You were
I'm
writing it
asking you
yourself?
whether or not you can tell me the difference, right? Okay, in heaven, humans live and have free will, correct?
They're not, technically it's heaven. They're not humans. We're talking about two different fields of existence, once again.
Okay,
God is
so
heaven-
does
is
a,
heavenly
all right,
body.
so when a human being dies on Earth, does that human being stop existing?
No.
Okay, that human being continues to exist somewhere or somehow or in some realm, correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that human being then continues their existence in heaven or
For eternity.
for eternity.
Does something change?
Yeah, does something change
Where?
about the human that is dead?
The spirit? No.
Okay,
And
so
that is what is the deliverer, what our makeup is.
so there is a spirit and it is alive and it has free will and there's a bunch of spirits around it that are alive and they have free will. Are they subject to suffering because of that? Is that
No,
enough?
they're not.
Okay. So what is it that causes the suffering if it's not free
Earth?
will?
Earth?
Earth. Okay, so what you're saying is, oh no, it's not that humans have free will that causes suffering, it's that we live on Earth that causes the suffering.
No, it's our duality of nature. In the creation story, we make each other suffer.
Cool. So in heaven, if humans were to have free will, would they not be able to make each other suffer there as well?
No, they would not.
Okay. So what you're saying is there's this good and loving God that created human beings in this way and then sent them to a place where they can suffer for a little while, for, a few decades, and then later they'll get to go to a place where they won't suffer. Is that a correct description?
Yeah, I would say the best way to explain that is since we are newborn here, yes, we are new like little infants, and after we pass away, we go to heaven. Yes, we are new here.
Okay. And this, in your mind, are the actions of a good and loving God is the God that sends humans to Earth or creates humans on Earth so they can suffer for a while before they can go to heaven, as opposed to
Once again, I will refer to Genesis and the creation story.
I have the Bible in front of me. We're talking to you, Robert. Yeah. What do you get out of it?
You're ignoring the facts that I'm giving you.
You're talking about the Bible. You're not talking about facts.
Well, that's in your opinion.
It is like my opinion.
Though. Can we?
Right.
Can I move it a little bit?
No, Robert. No. You're like a beautiful butterfly. You've spread your wings, and I'm pinning you now. So here's the pin, is you said two things that cannot exist at the same time. That's called cognitive dissonance. And it's weird and it's awkward. And that's okay. Because when you find yourself in a place where you can't justify those two things, that gives you the opportunity to learn. It gives you the opportunity to find out what is true and what isn't true. The fact is, you just described a place that your God made, right? That place is where people can exist without suffering and have free will. And then
where that Adolf Hitler had cognitive dissonance.
Just like you right now, yes. A lot of people have experienced cognitive dissonance, Robert. Cognitive dissonance is something that happens.
Break from reality.
No, it's not. Cognitive dissonance is when you hold two views that cannot both exist at the same time in your head, right?
And that is
that is called cognitive dissonance. So if I hold up a white mug, which I'm holding up, right? Mm-hmm. And I both believe that this mug is white and blue. Can that be true? Can I be...
Can those both be true?
Yeah, can those both be true?
Is there a little blue in there I can't state?
No. And even if it was, I'm trying to make a point.
You'd be lying.
Well, actually, here's the thing, is I would be ignorant or I would be... Wrong. Yeah, but I don't necessarily. I would not necessarily be lying.
The mug is not blue.
But here's the thing: is if I came to a conclusion, and had to follow that it was blue and white at the same time, then I would need to investigate it because I would be in a state of cognitive dissonance. Just like right now, it is dissonant. You cannot hold that God can create a place for people without suffering, and have free will, and yet say that free will is what causes suffering.
It was free will,
and
he gave it to us. That's correct, but it was chosen by Adam and Eve to use it in the wrong way.
Robert, do you have any children?
No, I don't.
No? Okay. So would you, I mean, I've worked in schools for many years, and I like kids. I would not give, I would not give a toddler a loaded gun. Robert, would you give a toddler a loaded gun?
I do believe the regime of Adolf Hitler, which was an atheist regime.
Hold on.
That.
Whoa, hold on, Robert. Why don't you just answer for yourself instead of trying to name call?
Yeah.
I called you a beautiful butterfly, Robert.
I am answering for myself, gentlemen.
Okay, then don't answer for Hitler. Answer for yourself.
Unfortunately for you, who wish to be atheists and use the public airways as for atheism.
Public airwaves, Robert, you found our YouTube channel, waited until the time that we got air live, and then called us.
Right next to the gospel channel, my friend.
Right next, dude.
You were right next to the gospel channel.
Nice.
You were right there.
Well, then, let's find out who's got a hold on reality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you understand that you're holding two views that cannot be held at the same time?
No.
Okay, then tell me why they can exist at the same time and you're not experiencing cognitive dissonance. And if you dodge, we're done. If you dodge, I'm handing you to Jamie, and if Jamie's done with you, we're going to hang up. Answer the question. How?
Say it again.
Okay. So you described that there is a heaven, and in that heaven, there exists free will and no suffering. And at the same time, you also, hold on, Robert, I'm not done yet. I still got to get to my question. I'm just giving you the premise so that you don't accuse me of any fuckery, right? So we have this heaven notion where there's free will and no suffering. And we also have this notion of earth where there's free will and suffering.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Why would God choose to create a place where there is suffering? I asked you if you would give a toddler a loaded gun because a toddler wouldn't know better. You don't give them a loaded gun because they're evil. You don't give them a loaded gun because they don't know what the fuck it is, right? If you created a place where people would suffer forever, right? And I'm not talking about hell. I'm talking about right here on earth that there will always be disease. There will be hunger. There will be suffering, right? There will be rape. There will be torture, right?
According to the Bible, there's going to be heaven on earth someday.
Yeah, and according to my book, sure, why not? I mean, but I'm so right now I'm. You know what? That's a good point, Robert. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It won't be on forever. It'll go on until your God says that people have suffered maybe enough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The suffering will continue until your God decides that we've suffered enough because your God is good and cares about defending human beings, except for when he doesn't.
How important is suffering to you? Actually, no, that's off the point. I want you to answer the question.
Yeah. Answer his question.
The question is, why would God create a place where there's suffering when God could create a place where there isn't?
Man's own decision to make that choice back then.
What decision was that?
Years ago?
What was the decision?
Whatever the mythical apple is, which could be discussed at a later time.
Oh, so you're saying that God
that decision was made. That's when man fell, and God had to start taking care of us like little kids all the time.
So hold on a second. You're saying that because we defied God, there's suffering.
I don't think it was defying God. Whatever took place back then is open to discussion, but whatever took place was.
But you are saying that
God.
Human beings changed God's plan.
God's plan was heaven on earth. I do believe God did speak to the people then and told them, if you bite of that apple, you will surely die. And am I correct? He did give them warnings.
Well, yes.
That's what's written in the book, but it's not a thing that happened.
Well, no, I mean, we're talking about the mythology.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the story. So if we're in the story, sure.
Right.
If God did say, you will surely die, did they die on the spot?
I think what we're talking about, sin coming into the nature of man, and yes, we've had it.
Can you sin in heaven, Robert?
Problems since that.
Can you sin in heaven?
Gentlemen, I'm 58 years old. I haven't died yet. Does that make sense to you?
You seem to have a whole lot of information about heaven. I don't know how that's the one that you can't get to.
He's called our Heavenly Father.
What does that have to do with anything?
Can you explain what you mean by that answer?
I believe part of Jesus' testimony to the
No. I mean,
Jewish
no.
nation
Just
at the
specifically
time
when
was about
you
heaven.
said he's called our Heavenly Father as an answer to Eric. Did you mean, when I'm talking about heaven, I really mean God? Do you mean that you're not talking about heaven? Eric made the point, you seem to have a lot of information about the existence of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate?
Yes, I'm a theist. Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
cool. So you know a lot about heaven then?
It's called modern day prophecy, if you like. Yes.
Okay, that's the only thing that Eric was getting at just now.
Hold on, we've been on this the entire time, and you believe in prophecy?
Prophecy ended, I believe, in the I forget which the last prophet was.
Robert,
Yeah.
Wait,
I think I love you.
Oh, God.
This is amazing.
Here we go.
I love this. You need to. I want to talk about I want to talk about prophecy all day.
We are talking about prophecy.
No, we're talking about that you really can't fit the idea that you have this cognitive dissonance. That
We are prophesizing the future, you and I, sir. You are prophesizing an atheist future, and I am prophesizing a future with heaven on earth.
really.
I've done no such thing.
Yeah, hold
When
on
you
a second.
sorry,
Robert.
When you say the word prophesying, do you mean predicting the future?
That is correct. Under
Okay.
the
Yeah, I am not
What-
predicting the
of God.
future.
What have I said that predicts the future, Robert?
I saw one of the backdrops for one of your show a man who was talking that had a motto over his left shoulder that said, Mr. President. Is that correct?
What?
One of your constituents on one of the programs you're affiliated on a backdrop.
No, Robert, you said that we are prophesying the future.
Yeah.
Jamie and I.
Do you mean right now?
I'm insinuating you want a political front. You're running a political front for what you're
We are not running a political front. It's a community
Said
organization.
vote for president right over his left-hand shoulder, gentlemen.
What? Wait, you're not talking about us. You're talking about another program, right?
Gentlemen, you're affiliated with all the same programs.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
I honestly, at this
that's
point, I
enough.
have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, Robert, I talked to you and we listened to you about what
Yeah.
your definitions are
I've got
because
one more
that's how
thing I
you
can
prevent
take.
creating a straw man.
Yeah.
A straw man is when instead of arguing with a person or talking to a person, you create a fake idea of a person to attack because it's a whole lot easier. You can make them very, very silly and you can say a whole
you
bunch
know
of
Aaron
silly
Ross.
things on behalf of them. And you know what? You
know Mr.
attack.
Aaron Ross,
Robert,
correct?
I will get there.
Yeah.
Let me finish. Okay?
Correct.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So what you have just done is create a straw man. Do you understand that you get nowhere when you argue with people about points that they're not holding?
Who is the straw man? The one who was standing next to you that had the sign over his shoulder that said "Vote for President"?
No, the one, the jackass I'm talking to, who is creating a false narrative. Own your shit, man. You just told us.
Are you familiar with Mr. Aaron Ra?
Aaron Ra, I'm looking at him right
Yeah,
now.
I am familiar with
Aaron, come on in here.
Is it true that Aaron Ra thinks himself a god and uses
Come here.
his name as describe himself as a god? Is that correct?
All right.
Or on
Yeah.
one of your shows?
Hold on.
I have him right
Actually,
here.
he just walked in
So-
and kissed Eric on the face.
Thank you for bringing me into the show.
How's it going, brother?
That was maddening. This guy says that free will is what causes all the suffering, but there's heaven where you have free will and you don't have suffering. So obviously the free will isn't causing the suffering. His answer is wrong. He can't understand that his answer is wrong because he can't understand things.
No, he just got the cognitive dissonance. But
Adolf
Aaron,
Hitler
I appreciate you.
had
I love you, man.
free
All
will.
right.
Adolf Hitler
out of my studio.
had free will. He chose to use it in the wrong way.
Then argue with Adolf Hitler, and while you're at it, why don't you argue with all of the Nazis that had inscribed on their belt buckles, Gott
is-
mit uns, God with us?
yeah.
Not concerned, gentlemen. Adolf
Yeah,
Hitler
not
was a
concerned.
profound
I'm not concerned
atheist
with you. Are we done, Jamie?
dialogue
I've got one more.
conversation.
Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
Okay. just to be clear, and circling back around, the God that you believe in, at one point you said, and now he has to take care of us like little children. Is that something that you said in the moment, or do you believe that God intervenes in day-to-day life?
That is a daily, day-to-day life for...
All right, so God changes the outcomes of events as they affect human beings?
The outcome of your own events affect human beings.
Does God affect...
to help you with them.
Yeah. Does God affect what happens to human beings? So, for example, if God wanted me to die right now...
Direction, gentlemen. It's up to you to choose.
I'm attempting to understand what it is that you believe. Do you believe that if God wanted me to die right now, for example, that I would?
Right. Since the New Testament, gentlemen, he doesn't do that anymore. That's been put in the hands of Christians, as you can see how the world's been taken care of.
So God doesn't intervene in the world?
How the world has been
taken. It's up to Christians now, gentlemen. God doesn't want to do the dirty work anymore.
Yeah, that's because your God is impotent, ignorant, or fucking hates us.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a good thing that it doesn't exist. It's a story. And you actually have to show anything to show that it's just, I mean, you have to prove to us that we need to take this as more seriously than the story that it is. Otherwise, I'm going to hold up the Book of Eric and I'm going to say that it's just as legitimate, and I'm going to use what I wrote. Hold on.
Can I help the conversation along?
You helped it enough. Hold on. So I wrote, I'm writing a book. It is the Book of Eric. It is my holy book. How would you feel if I called and just used that book and said, well, according to my book, you're wrong? Does that hold any explanatory power?
Yeah. Will that persuade you?
No, it doesn't, gentlemen.
Exactly.
You're pretty small potatoes in the scheme of life.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, in the scheme of life, this book isn't even a potato.
Can I ask you what countries you have your offices in, by the way?
We're in Austin, Texas. And if you would like to visit the atheist community of Austin, you can come to 1507 West Koenig Lane, Austin, Texas. Our show is at 1 p.m. Central. And
every Sunday.
Yeah.
Do you have any international offices, gentlemen?
No, we have international listeners. Hi, international listeners.
Hi.
You have no international offices, are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah.
The atheist community of Austin has a building in Austin.
Excuse me?
The atheist community of Austin has a building in Austin.
Hold on. Wait. Robert, do you think that we're part of some grand conspiracy that's worldwide?
Can I ask you another question? How many people are involved in your organization?
I love all the questions. Hold on a second. Do you believe that we're involved in a grand conspiracy that covers the world?
Gentlemen, I think a lot of people in the world, and that includes government.
Okay, let's try this. Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you think that we're part of a grand...
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Quite frankly, yes.
What kind of conspiracy? This call just got longer. All right, okay.
Okay.
It's called the atheist. It's called the atheist.
Wait, I just have a quick... No, you talk.
All right.
I just want to say...
What?
George Soros, if you're listening, I haven't gotten my check. I need that check.
All right.
I really...
The one on the other side of your earphone?
I think you're... Oh, I wish. George Soros, if you're listening, please, give me a call.
Okay.
My name's Eric Murphy. I'm at the atheist community of Austin. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He accepts
Are you a
check
private
cash.
funder by any chance?
No. Actually, if you have his number, we'd love to ask him for some. But
Please.
Do you believe... I believe you said something about the atheist conspiracy?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correctly, yes.
Can you go into more detail, please?
It's a period. We're going to have to go back in history once again, because atheists.
Okay, we're an hour into a show with 5 other people on the line.
And we are now in the nuclear age, and you are in a country of freedom, and you're abusing that freedom. Is that correct?
No, Robert. We're in the nuclear age. Robert, you're in the Stone Age. I'm done. You good, Jamie?
Yeah, Robert, will you call back again next week?
I see no point at this. Quite frankly, according to, I had to look this up because I couldn't remember anymore. It's the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the 1950s?
Under God.
No, do your history work. Was it 40s or 50s that we added under God? Yeah, in the 1950s. So why don't you actually learn, open a book, just a book. Can I hang up on him, please?
Robert?
Please?
Gentlemen, it's a quote. Do you know
Yes
other
or no?
countries use our Pledge of Allegiance as a sign of our sovereignty here?
Thank you for calling, Robert. Go without God.